In today's video, we're going to take an initial look at my new Ruger 5.7 5.7 by 28 millimeter pistol. This is the Americanized version of the FN 5.7 is what I'm calling it. And we're going to talk about the specs of this thing, talk about ammo selection, and take it to the range and do some initial sighting in. That's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose, your home for trustworthy information and gear reviews related to camping, survival, and general preparedness for regular folks. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me, as I said, for an initial look at new Ruger 5.7 pistol. And let me just undanger this thing up so we're safe here. So anyway, it's pretty cool because it holds 20 rounds of ammunition. Like I said, we're going to do an initial look at this thing. We're going to talk about the specs of this. A couple things that I know are different about it than the FN version, and we'll take it to the range and do some initial sighting in. But first, I'll tell you this video is sponsored by my Patreon supporters. So if you'd like to support the channel financially, I'd invite you to go to patreon.com/survivalonpurpose. It really does help. Once a month we have a live stream, and on that live stream we do a giveaway. And I say that like that because technically, I think the old folks at Patreon don't like giveaways. They consider it gambling or bribery or something like that. I don't know. I do it just because I think it's a way of saying thanks to the folks for supporting the channel. So anyway, patreon.com/survivalonpurpose. And if you support the channel at the $5 a month level or greater, then we'll do you'll be entered in the giveaway. So there's that. Okay, enough rambling. Let's get down to the old tabletop. We'll talk about this Ruger 5.7, give you the details of it, and then we'll take you to the range and show you what a horrible shot I am. Okay, here's the Ruger 5.7. So first, let's just talk about the specs of this thing. So as you can see, it's a pretty good sized pistol. The pistol is 8.65 inches long by 5.6 inches high by 1.2 inches wide at the slide, the widest point, and the grip is about 2 inches front to back. So pretty wide because it's holding 20 of these rounds. These are the 5.7 by 2.8 rounds, and we'll talk about the ammunition in a minute. So, but even with the thickness, the depth or width or whatever you want to call it of this grip, the ergonomics are pretty good. It's got enough of a kind of return here that for me, my finger hits the trigger right where I want it to, and it's very, very comfortable. It's got nice little cutouts for your thumb on either side, so whether you're right or left-handed. And as far as being right or left-handed, it has the Ambidextrous 1911 style safety, so you work it with your thumb like that, right? Or if you're left-handed, you work it with that thumb. And that's one of the differences between the FN model. The FN model's got the safety that's kind of up here, kind of like the European style. Also ambidextrous for you lefties. The magazine release is reversible, so it's set up right now for right hand, but it's definitely easily reversible. You can do that yourself. So it's user changeable. Does that make sense? The slide itself is a black oxide finished billet steel slide. It's got a lightning cut here to keep the weight down, and it's also pre-tapped for optic mount up here. It has a front and rear cocking serrations. Comes with a fiber optic front sight and a fully adjustable for windage and elevation steel rear sight. The weight on this thing is 24.5 ounces unloaded, 28.7 ounces loaded. That's with a magazine full of 40 grain ammo. Ammo is also available in 27 grains. I don't think that's going to make that big a difference. The frame itself is textured glass filled nylon black with a Picatinny rail here, and it's got a nice big trigger guard if you want to use gloves or whatever. The magazine well is not flared at all, but I haven't really had any trouble getting the magazine in there because the magazine fits in pretty good, and it's got enough of a grip on the bottom of it that you can get if you need to strip it out, you can, but it drops free pretty good. So one more thing, there is a visual and tactile means of checking for the chamber loaded. First, there's a little hole there that you can see the brass when it's in there, and then the extractor, when it's empty, it sticks up from the frame back here just a little bit. You can feel that with your finger, and when it's loaded, it obviously the round pushes it down, the top down, the top, the inside, this part up, so this part goes down so it's smoother. So you can both look and feel to make sure that the chambers is empty or loaded. That's what I'm trying to say here. Okay, that is it. Other than the only other control on here is the takedown lever. We'll talk about that in just a minute. No tools required to take this thing down for cleaning. There's all of that. Let's talk about how the thing functions. So you can see the trigger has a little toggle on it, similar to a striker fired pistol, but this is not striker fired. It is hammer fired, and it has an internal hammer. And when the slide is racked or a round is fired, and the slide is, you know, it goes back into battery, it partially cocks the hammer. I'm trying to see if you can. Let me get a flashlight. See if you can see that down in there. You can see inside there's a little bit of a hammer. I'm going to pull this trigger now that we know this empty, and you can see the hammer kind of move. And what happens is it's sort of like double action, but it's not really. It's not hard at all. And what I thought I would do, just to show you, we can go ahead and do a little. We'll do a little trigger test here. I'm going to try to keep it as accurate as I can. Do it about 3 times. And it's about okay, that's about 3.5 pounds. Let's try it again. I like to do it about 3 times. So it's about 3.5 pounds. So one more time, do it one more time. See what we get. And because that one went to about 4.5, so let's try it again. And I guess placement on the trigger is a big deal, but I'm going to try to pull it straight back. So about 4. So 3.5 to 4 pounds. Not bad considering a Glock is around 5 pounds. So there's that. So let's talk about ammo now real quickly, and then we'll get this thing to the range. So as I said, 20 rounds. And one of the kind of the claim to fame of this pistol is the fact that not only does it hold 20 rounds, but these are some hot little rounds. I got 4 different kinds of ammo, and when we get to the range, you'll see me shooting these things. So this first ammo was Federal Federal 40 grain, and it's just full metal jacket, 40 grain ammo, and this is pretty easy to find. It's the most common I could find. But I will tell you this, the first batch of ammo I bought for this stuff was $2 a round, almost $2 a round. So it's crazy expensive. I didn't blow a bunch of it at the range. I was able to find some very recently, so a month and a half later for about $1 a round. So still not super cheap, but that's 40 grains. There's also a 40 grain option from FN, and this is what most of the ammo you're going to find is probably going to be FN or Federal. And this is the FN SS197 SR, and it's got the Hornady VMAX bullet, and you can see it's got that little tip on it. And then there are 2 other options that are 27 grain, and these are both lead free. So if you need to shoot lead free, this is your option. Also, these are a lot smaller bullets, so they're going to be a little hotter. And the FN195 is a really tiny little hollow point. It's a full metal jacket with a little hollow point. And the FN is 27 grain, lead free, and the FN 198 says for law enforcement and military use only, and it has this green painted tip, little hollow point. But this is getting harder to find. This is probably going to be one of your best American Eagle. It's going to be the most readily available. So, with all that being said, let's take this thing to the range, and I'll show you some of my initial sighting in, and you'll see what a horrible shot I am, because I'm not going to pretend I'm some sort of super operator, and we'll wrap this sucker up. Okay, so went to my local indoor range at 25 feet, and I started out with 5 rounds of each of these types of ammo I've got in a 20 round mag, because like I said, $2 a round, so every magazine's $40. I started with the Federal 40 grain and did 5 rounds, the first time I'd ever shot this pistol, and you know, not too bad. I got about a 2-inch group with one kind of flyer, we'll call it, and for about a 3¼ inch group. So you know, for me, that's not too bad. The first time I ever shot a pistol. So the next 5 rounds in the magazine were the FN SS197 SR, and those are the ones with the VMAX polymer tip. and I was able to get about 1.5 inch group with those, so a lot better group. But as you can see, it was high left, as was the first group. The next 5 rounds were the FN 195, which are the little, hollow point lead-free. And I think the group on those was even a little better maybe. I had about 1.25 inch group, but I did have that one flyer again to bring the whole group up to about 2.5 inches. And again, it was even a little bit higher left. Finally, I went with the law enforcement only FN SS 198 lead-free. And that was a little bit more spread out, about a 3-inch group, a little bit higher, and also even higher left. So as you noticed, all of those were basically high left. So decided I would do a little tweaking on the old sights and try to get my adjustment down. So I just decided, let's take it out to 50 feet instead of 25, and shot a little bit faster, basically a 1 second per shot, which was, not, and for some reason I usually seem to do better shooting faster like that. I had 5 shots went well. I had 1 double feed there, and wound up having to kind of reload those last 2 rounds because I had 7 rounds in the mag. And I wound up with a 9-inch group, which is horrible, and it's still left. So I'm not going to be on anybody's anybody's marksmanship team anytime soon. So a little more adjustment at 50 feet, and got a little bit slower. So I kind of got everything sort of centered in, and said, I think that's the best I'm going to do. Finally, I just wanted to have a little fun. So I had like 12 shots in a magazine, 12 shots left out of a box, I think. So at 25 feet, I did 12 shots in 10 seconds. So a little less than 1 second per shot. And it was still left, but it really wasn't that horrible a group compared to what I've been shooting. Still got to work on this one, but that was my initial rounds, and I decided I'm going to pack that one in and quit throwing lead down range at $2 a pop today, and come back another day and see if I can tweak it even tighter. Okay, I'm almost ashamed to show you that, but you know what? I am what I am, as Popeye used to say. I think he said it more expressively than I did, but every firearm I own has a greater potential, a greater accuracy potential than me. But I can tell you that the pistol is a good shooting pistol. It feels good in my hand. I'm confident that if I needed to defend myself with this, I could. So hopefully that's been reasonably instructive and somewhat informative, and maybe even slightly entertaining. But that is an initial look at my Ruger 5.7, and I like this pistol. That's all I can say. It's, I bought some pistols I didn't like before. This one, I like. I like it a lot, as they say. So I sincerely appreciate you watching Survival on Purpose. Let me know what you think about this pistol in the comments below if you have any experiences with it, good or bad. And as always, remember, my name's Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.